What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along with the content, you know that it's starter squad prep time, a very important part of the year if you want to hit the ground running. Now, why is it so important? Because as soon as you get the game, you're going to start doing your foundational SBCs. You're going to start slowly gathering coins on the companion app day, which comes, companion app / web app comes the day before the game comes out. Then the game comes, you have your squad of players that EA Sports gives you, and slowly but surely you'll start getting your gold cards. You'll start opening packs. You won't get any FC points until the full release. And so it's just this slow cycle of gaining coins through playing the game, squad battles, right? If you dare jump straight into rivals without even a solid team, maybe that way. Once you do get your coins, there's drafts, stuff like that. And next thing you know, you'll finally start gaining enough coins to start hitting the transfer market if you want to, consumables, all these different things. And you have to have a plan in place or you'll get shell-shocked. You won't know what to do. And there's so many mistakes players make right off the bat, and they don't realize how bad it affects them as far as team building goes, as far as how many coins they have. They don't realize how many mistakes they make right off the bat. So up to this point, we've covered through FootMind's release of this database, which isn't as good, but you got to give FootMind credit. They released it, and it has all the players' accurate stats. So salute to them. It worked out for goalkeepers, for wingbacks, for center backs, for CDMs, and for CMs, right? Now we're up to cams, and then of course we have both wings, left and right, as well as striker. So we are moving today, starting with our attack. From our defense into CM, obviously can be, it's more box-to-box, more all-around players that can sometimes even play cam, sometimes play CDM, sometimes they could play either. A player like, let's say, Rabiot. And as we move into cam, I just wanted to note the importance of noting down these players. So then, when you get into the game, you already have a reference point as far as what players to check into, what players to kind of see how their value is looking. Any of these players on the list for any of these positions, if they're affordable, they're absolutely worth picking up. Then if you do get enough coins and you feel like you're ready for this, you could start to invest, but you have to flip quickly. Meaning, if you get any of the players that I mentioned, for instance, we'll start with one today. We'll go to Szoboszlai, right? If you start with a player like Szoboszlai, right here, he's Premier League, which is the most popular starter squad league, the most popular league, period, as well as Liverpool. The one thing holding Szoboszlai back would be his nationality, Hungary, right? However, most likely he is going to be a very high-priced, overpriced, if you will, starter card. You do not want to sink coins into him, most likely. But let's say you get in early enough and you see that he has a value and you're experienced enough to know that's going to go up. You grab X amount of him, 3, 5, 10, and then you quickly flip him right away, right? I'm talking within the first week. If you get him, like, let's say the first day somehow, you're not going to have enough coins after the companion app day. But let's just say you do get enough coins after the first, second, third, fourth day. Up to the first week, I think that you can definitely invest in a player like Szoboszlai, these popular players, and quickly flip him, and you will gain coins without a doubt. But don't hang on to these players because they will crash. You don't even want to buy one to use in your team because before you know it, they're going to crash, and next thing you realize is you lost a ton of coins from a starter team that you created that you could have easily got just as good of a team, maybe even a better team. We're going to talk about the right players to look for if you would have went a different route, okay? So the rules of player purchasing change, and they're very important because let's say you do react smartly to purchasing players. For instance, women's players. They're never at the value of men's players. Like the higher rated ones, the even the bigger name starter cards, let's say, yes, right? Especially like you have Katarina Macario, 83 pace, 82 shooting, 80 passing, 86 dribbling, 72 physical, right? She can also play striker and CM, 4-3, and she has dead ball, game changer, and technical. You click into game changer, you see it's a very good, well, we already know the game changer is what includes the Trivela shots. Right off the bat, very good play styles. On top of she's already a great card. Even if she had, let's say, no play styles, she'd be a great starter card. Well, she's American, so that's not huge on the chemistry part as far as starter cards go, but she does play for Chelsea, so you do get some connection with the popular Premier League for starter cards where a lot of players will sink coins into. So there's no doubt that she has a very good chance of being overpriced. You just have to pay attention to that, right? But as we scroll through here, we're actually going to start deeper. Like a player like Trincao, that's a good example. A player like Trincao, 80 pace, 80 shooting, 79 passing, 84 dribbling, 71 physical, right? He is a 4-2, but look at all these play styles he has right off the bat. Finesse shot, low driven, incisive pass, inventive, that's the one with the Trivela pass, technical, first touch, and trickster. So you got to make sure you understand. Both of them have like that kind of Trivela picture. Inventive is the passing Trivela along with some other things. And game changer is the actual Trivela shot playstyle. Okay? But Trincao, he's in the Portuguese league, right? And he plays for Sporting Lisbon. So that's not very popular, but he is Portugal international. Therefore, if you have some Portuguese players, you can no doubt get him on Kim. And his stats are perfectly fine for a starter card at the attacking mid position, right? You could throw a catalyst on him. You could even throw an engine on him if you wanted, even though for a starter card he has good dribbling. And you're not going to have to worry about him dropping in so much value that you just totally lose coins, which is bound to happen with these type of Zoboslai players, right? Rule number 1, do not overpay for starter squad players. That goes all the way up the ladder to like 85, 86s. Now, once you start getting into those upper level gold cards, those aren't starter squad cards. Those are a month to 2 months. Those are cards that you can invest in that can be in your team and that can compete, even with some of the team of the week cards that are going to come out, promos, whatever, right? And I'm not just talking your Mbappes and all that. We will go into those higher rated cards. But the middleman cards, which I would say 85 to like 86 and some 87s, you don't want to invest in those, right? You want to invest in the cards that you know are going to hold value. I like to have a little more pace when I'm playing with a Shadow Striker, but let's say you're not. Furman, 80 rated, 74 pace, 75 shooting, 75 passing, 82 dribbling, and then of course low D and low physical. 3-4, can play CM, left wing, and striker. Obviously real slow for a striker. You see here he has a plus rolls for Shadow Striker, half winger. But there you go. You do got to pay attention. I'm glad we actually went over this part. If you know your tactics already and you're not just getting players, building a team around what they have, if you're looking for a particular style that you want to play, a particular formation, you're going to have to look at this, right? Because I just said if I got Furman, I wouldn't use him as a Shadow Striker. But as a cam, he either has half winger or Shadow Striker. As a CM, he has playmaker, not as a cam. He doesn't have playmaker, right? He doesn't have the classic 10 or anything else. And so you go, you buy him, and then you realize this, and now you're stuck with him. He doesn't fit how you want to play. So make sure you're checking those player roles. Most players will remember this, but when you take a break, especially with how bad FC25 was, plenty of players started their little break in between games early, you can forget those little things. And Pellegrini, another good starter squad card. You can absolutely put him down, right? The pace, you're going to notice it's slow across the board. There's going to be some players that don't pay enough attention to the details, and they're going to look at a player like Pellegrini and see the 75 and say, no way. But, again, let's look at their roles before I even go into it. Cam playmaker. Boom. Perfect. All right. So you guys are starting to get the picture. We're going to keep going with our players. Not as interested in Jones just because of England, Liverpool. He's going to be way overpriced, and his stats aren't even that great, anyways. Some of these players are at least worth looking at because either A, you can get them early enough, or B, because like the pace is so slow, players will just, nope, not looking at them, even though they lowered pace pretty much all the way around for every position. You could get lucky and steal a player like Jones for a good price. But I'm not that interested compared to other players, stat wise and what they can bring to the table. Always, always, always have I liked Anderson Talisca. Obviously, he used to be the Saudi League. Now he's over in Turkey. Fenerbahce. Brazil is his nationality, helps too. There's some very good starter squad Brazilians. There's some very good Brazilians, period, obviously. But you see there, he has a plus role, game changer plus, so that may increase his value. Very well could. 4-4. You can see he can play striker, right wing, and see him on top of Cam. That's one thing they did this year is open up the amount of positions players can play, so it's not as limiting, which is a good thing. 76 pace, 86 shooting, 80 passing, 81 dribbling. That almost seems unrealistic, man. But it is what it. I mean, you got to believe that these are accurate. They took a long time, Radar FC, to put this out. That 86 shooting is so insane. If you can somehow, I would look into this though deeper, because with that 86 shooting at Cam playmaker, let's see what his play cells are. Yep, playmaker. Wow, that's unbelievable. You can, and if you do play a false nine, right, a player that's always coming to the ball and not making runs, that speed won't hurt you as bad. I don't really like false nine as much, but this year I can tell you based on league footage, I'm not talking about my playing experience, based on league footage, I can tell you that those type of like false nines and stuff like that, based on the movement and passing being more important, being able to make great passing sequences, those positions like that coming to, and not just looking to like send players on through to span through balls every time, could be more valuable. Moving up, I want to talk about Santos real quick. She's just under what, like, I go 75 pace and above as a rule of thumb, but one pace lower isn't going to stop me. And 75 shooting obviously isn't that great, but 80 passing, 82 dribbling, 76 physical, right? She's standing at 5'1", so just naturally with her player build, she's going to be good on the ball. Cam, she has playmaker and shadow striker. Obviously with her pace, I would go playmaker, and you put a catalyst on her if you want that passing juiced up, or a hunter on her if you want the shooting boost up. Catalyst because engine, I feel like with this low pace, wouldn't boost enough. You either want a hunter or a catalyst for offensive. Obviously, for defensive purposes, you want a shadow, right? Those are the three ones with the biggest pace upgrades, as you guys know, right? Is he another one you want to look out for? Excellent, but, the Spanish nationality, La Liga, obviously the team not the greatest, as far as players go to connect, but that league and that nationality, plus you see that 84 pace, which goes up to around like a 92 with a hunter. Also boosts that 77 shooting up into the 80s. He already has 80 passing, 82 dribbling, not great defense and physical. What does he stand? About 5'7", so small, compact guy. Can play playmaker, half winger, shadow striker, but also can play right mid, inside forward, but not right winger. Ricardo Horta, another Portuguese player. If you're playing multiple cams, you put him together with Trincao. You put him with Trincao. Boom, 2 Portuguese players. There's some Portuguese women out there that are going to be affordable as well. But Ricardo Horta, you see plenty of positions, as with a lot of the players. Main positions can, but he can also play left and right mid, CM. Another player without the wingers on there, though. But the pace, you wouldn't really want him on the wings anyway. 78 pace, 81 shooting, 81 passing, 82 dribbling, right? Finesse shot, power shot, ping pass, tiki-taka, first touch. He can play playmaker in the cam role or half winger. And then left and right mid, he could play inside forward, right? Again, I would only put him out of these role pluses, playmaker, but could be excellent. Cuckoo almost certainly is going to be overpriced, without a doubt. 77 pace, Not the greatest, especially for Nkunku. It's a head scratcher. But again, they lowered the pace all the way around. So if players look at him and say, nope, and that lowers his value, so be it. But 79 shooting, 80 passing, 82 dribbling, then lower defense and physical, right? But still very good starter card. I'd put a Hunter on him as I would with most. Offensive cards, Hunter. Defensive cards, defense for these starter cards, right? If you have some ridiculous pace player, then cool, you can boost up some other stat areas. But for the most part, all these players are going to need boosts in the pace department. He can play Cam, left mid striker, CM, 5'3", so he's one of those players with 5-star skill moves. Not many of these lower rated cards have that. And then he's got the 3-star weak foot, though. For me, I'd rather have 4-star weak foot, right? 4-star, 4-star, or even 3 skills, 4-star weak foot than 5'3". That's just me. If you're a skiller out there, you can make this work. But even a player as good as Nkunku with 3-3, for instance, I could deal with it. Just a tight little cut inside to a finesse shot, and you're good to go. Of course, he has the regular finesse shot, technical, and first touch, right? Because his pace is a lot lower, but he has good dribbling, and just knowing how Nkunku moves, I may still, if I have a left mid needed, I may still put Nkunku. Most likely, though, he's going to... Wow, Cam only half winger. Left mid, inside forward, striker, false nine. Well, there you go. I put him at left mid, inside forward, so he can cut into his right foot from the left. Only because he doesn't have Cam available. But see, that's something that could lower his price down. These players are going to want the speedier players on the wing. And he doesn't have the most popular either shadow striker or playmaker at Cam. So I could absolutely see Nkunku being a steal with good, chemistry connections. And you could put him as a left mid inside forward. Otavio, absolutely worth looking into. Look at that above average, well above average dribbling. 85 dribbling for a starter card, excellent. 78 pace from the pace we've seen from everyone, not terrible. His shooting, way low. His passing, 82, excellent. 70 defense, 75 physical, right? Stature, he's 5'7", 4-star skill moves, 3-star weak foot. Can play Cam, can play right mid or CM. Let's look at the roles. Playmaker plus, shadow striker plus. Perfect there. Even at CM, he could play playmaker or right mid, inside forward. You see here, incisive and ping passing. Tiki-taka, which is going to be extremely powerful, technical, first touch, and relentless. I don't want to go too much into play styles because we're going to rank all of them. We're going to talk about the best play styles, the ones that aren't meaningless but close to it, right, and everything in between. But I will tell you, with how slick passing is, you can turn them inside and out, and Tiki-taka just improves that even more. The passing for everybody is sharper, is quicker, but you add Tiki-taka to it, and those smooth, quick, short, right, Tiki-taka style passes are going to be a beautiful thing. So really note down to look for this Tiki-taka playstyle, and especially Tiki-taka playstyle plus as you're moving forward and really getting those marquee players for your squad. The Brazil International in the Saudi League, Malcolm. I absolutely love this card, and what do you notice about the pace, right? Our first speed demon. I almost had to make sure that wasn't a difference from the face card, but 89 pace, right? You're not going to beat that. You put an engine on him, or you go Hunter to maximize it, and he's going to be blown by everybody as a Cam, right mid, left mid, or even a CM. 89 pace, 78 shooting, 79 passing, 84 dribbling, so he's fast and smooth. 43 defense, 73 physical, so he's got a little, physical side to him, not way up there, right? I would say 75 and above would be like a good physical starter card. 73, though, just below that. And he still has the ability to hold his own out on the pitch physically, obviously. Dead ball, low driven, incisive, whip pass, inventive. So he's got the develop pass, rapid and relentless. Guys, note this player down. Cam-wise, playmaker or half winger, and then inside forward. Again, Cam, half winger. Don't just totally count it out. If you like the 4-2-3-1 wide, even better than the 4-2-3-1 narrow, and you don't like the playmaker Cam role for whatever reason for Malcolm, you want more that speed to be used on the outside, 4-2-3-1 narrow, put him at half winger. Saudi League is going to become one of the big boy leagues as far as starter players go, especially. And as we go forward, you're going to have full Saudi teams. They're going to be right up there with La Liga and Premier League and all that. But for right now, it's on the cusp, right? But a player like Malcolm, you can make him work without a doubt with that Brazil connection, or go with that Saudi League starter team. Just make sure you don't overpay for any of these players. So even if a player like Malcolm, that speed demon, 89 pace, that's great, right? Pretty good stats elsewhere. The 84 dribbling, that's great. Don't overpay for him or any of these starter players. I can't stress that enough. Another good one in the speed demon, who's definitely going to be cheaper. You can note both of these down, though, is Rafa, right? Very similar there, but 4-star skills, 2-star weak foot instead of 3. Malcolm's 4-star skills, 3-star weak foot, right? Stands at 5'8". 5'8". He can play shadow striker, half winger, playmaker in the cam role. Left mid, he can play inside forward, striker, false 9. 89 pace, 75 shooting, so not as good as Malcolm there. 78 passing, 85 dribbling though. So 89 pace, 85 dribbling, so one better than Malk. 48 defense, 55 physical. Moving on here. There you go right here. Perfect player to note down. Do not forget this. Fudala, German international, Bayer Leverkusen. There's some good Bayer Leverkusen starter players out there. But you look at that. 85 pace, 84 shooting, 74 passing, 79 dribbling, 55 defense, 71 physical. So a little bit lower in the defense, or sorry, the dribbling department than we typically like, and the passing department. But let's see if she can play shadow striker. No, only playmaker. That's fine. Put a catalyst on her. She already has good enough shooting, right? If she had a shadow striker, you put a hunter on her, she becomes a second forward. The 3-3 is not as good, but you can make it work for a starter card. And remember, with the lower dribbling, she's 5'1". She's 5'1". Her dribbling's still going to be good, just naturally. She's lower, more compact. Definitely an excellent starter card. These women's players, you connect there with Bayer Leverkusen, you get some Americans in there. There's no doubt there's some Americans, too, that can play in the women's German league that could help you get Fudala boosted and Kim. And there you go. You got an extremely affordable starter team. Because Tillman's another good option. So we'll look into him deeper. The American, that's what's going to make people not buy him as much. That's not as popular unless they go with the women's team, right? Even Bayer Leverkusen, like Bundesliga is one of the top leagues, but it's not like you're looking at probably Premier League, then La Liga for sure. Then it might be third. That's could be Liga 1. It could be Bundesliga, even Serie A. They're all kind of right there. But there's plenty of Premier League and La Liga players, the players are going to be going for. Can play playmaker, shadow striker, half winger, left wing. Can play wide playmaker. See him, he can play playmaker. So very interesting. More positions, but still kind of random. I don't know if it's... I would love to hear their reasoning behind how they chose all these. It's more, but it's like they picked them out of a hat. 84 pace, 76 shooting, 77 passing, 83 dribbling, 65 defense, 77 physical. And by the way, maybe there's like some games where this player at least played that position once. I could be totally wrong about the guessing out of a hat, but it is what it is. It's still less limiting. And those are very interesting stats, right? So a 6'2" potential cam or left winger. So if you want to go for that more big and powerful route, Tillman's your guy, right? Speedy player, especially for a big man. He's going to be flying down the side. If you go with like a catalyst, he goes to around 92 pace, gets his passing into the 80s. If you go with Hunter, he gets his shooting into the 80s with 92 pace. Already good physical, right? Not great, but really good. And he's a specimen at 6'2". So definitely keep Tillman on your list. Rogers, definitely worth looking into. The 77 pace, 77 shooting, 79 passing, 84 dribbling, right? Cam, he can play right mid, left mid, center mid. I see a lot of times they're just adding center mid in there. But without a doubt, Rogers, player like Rogers, you want on your list of potential starter players. Not because, he has the potential to be overpriced in England and Premier League. But there's a chance that he won't be just because of those bit lower. He has a bit lower stats, and there's so many other players in this position. So just because they're Premier League, don't just totally write them off. right? You've seen in other positions, I've went over them. A player like Zoboslai, don't even look at. You know, just for the namesake and then a little bit higher, 83 rating, players are going to sink coins into him. Nobody's going that crazy over Rodgers. He could just by nature of, okay, 84 dribbling, yes, that stat stands out. England, Premier League, boom, overpriced. But he also could easily be just players don't just quite get to looking that low for him. And in that case, you might be able to pick him up. He's worth noting down, and then you can grab him if he's not overpriced. Simple as that. There's another American, but she's from the American League, which is fine. The women's league in the United States. Plenty of good players from around the world. Women's players, United States. Absolutely a good idea for a starter team because they're just not as popular as the men's leagues. 4-3 skills to weak foot, right? She's a righty. She can play cam, CDM, and CM. Obviously, CDM-wise, not the best of defense. But 75 pace, 76 shooting, 81 passing, 84 dribbling. So does she have playmaker? Yeah, I'd put her as a cam playmaker. Yeah, cam playmaker for sure. She can play shadow striker. I wouldn't put her there. She can play deep line playmaker. But at only 81 passing and 65 defense, I probably wouldn't do that. 73 physical is not too bad. She stands at 5'4". So definitely worth putting on your starter squad list. Player like Gibbs White, I passed him up, but I didn't pass Rodgers. Why? No reason. I shouldn't have. Looked, they're the exact same player. But you're going to have that too. I wanted to point that out. 4'4", so the weak foot's different there. So you definitely like Rodgers better. But maybe Rodgers, because of that 4'4", is just a little overpriced and Gibbs White's perfect, right? A little less pace at 75, same shooting. Passing, Gibbs White's actually better. Same dribbling. Like lower physical, Rodgers is better physical. What's Rodgers? 6'2", so a huge physical specimen. Gibbs White, 5'10", right? He can play just shadow striker, and Rodgers can play playmaker. He doesn't have shadow striker. So worth putting both of these players down. But you're going to have situations like that. If you're noting these players down and you're like, oh, let's say I didn't just notice Gibbs White. Oh, didn't have Gibbs White from OG's video. Can't get him. No. You can see these stats and kind of get the general consensus of what I'm looking at. And that's the whole goal of this. To paint a picture for you and to help you out. That's why I put so much content out that covers all these different things that I know aren't going to blow up in views, that don't have the clickbait titles that are there, because all these different areas are different areas people need help in. Some have better grasps of certain areas and they don't need certain videos. Others don't. So hopefully this can teach you, and that's the goal. Pedro Goncalves, another good one. 83 passing, 84 dribbling, 77 pace, 82 shooting. Definitely worth it for Cam to look into. I went over Rabiot for more the defensive role, right? CM. I like him as more of a deep line playmaker, but my point was it's 77 defense. If he did have CDM, you could put him as a number 6. He's that versatile. But then you look at the 79 shooting, 81 passing, 80 dribbling, 84 physical is great, 6'3", so he's a big presence in there, 81 pace. I mean, you could put Hunter on him, Shadow on him, take him any which way. Yes, he's 3'3", but you can make it work. I'd put him on the left side. He can play playmaker as a cam, which could absolutely work. You don't want him as shadow striker, but his bread and butter would be CM box to box. If you can grab Rabiot for a good price and put him as a box to box, he will absolutely cook for you. So moving on from Rabiot, Kirby, absolute beast. That was downgraded. She was 84 last year. So that's better looking. England International, but the women's Premier League, if you will. Right? Not the most popular team, so definitely put her on your radar. 4'4", with the plus playmaker. Excellent stats. I mean, come on, man. She's going to be great. Especially with this dribbling. It's going to be good luck trying to take the ball off her. Easy, a little lower pace there, but excellent dribbling. Shooting in passing. At Cam, without a doubt, I'd go for easy. He's almost certainly going to be overpriced with that elite level of dribbling. You put him at, although shadow striker and left inside forward, I'd want him as more of a playmaker, and I'd put a catalyst on him just because that lower pace. Why am I saying this? Because running from deep like that, one of the bonuses is many times you can run unmarked. But when you're that slow as molasses, it's almost like you're running in slow-mo speed, and the opponent can miss you one or two times and all of a sudden go, oh, hey, you got to go cover him, and then get over and fix their mistake. Whereas if you're blitzing through those holes, just slicing through those deep runs, you're going to find yourself open a lot more. Simons, another beast. So you look here, another elite dribbling player, 87. He's a no-name. He's been a beast lately. Netherlands, so country-wise good. Bundesliga, not the most popular, but popular enough. Red Bull. Pace and shooting, never been the highest, but 80 passing is good enough, in that 87 dribbling, right? Similar to Easy, except Simons is 84 rated, right? And he's got 3-star weak foot, 4-star skills though, but he's just dynamite on the ball. Cam, left mid striker, playmaker without a doubt. Shadow striker plus, Cam, playmaker but only plus. Most likely gonna be overpriced just because he's more of a popular name. Not the most popular, but popular enough. So there you have it. Plenty of starter cards. All different leagues, all different teams, all different nationalities. Find your strategy, stick with it, put together a sick starter squad that's not overpriced. Let every other sucker sink their coins in and lose a ton while you keep gaining coins just because you're smart. And then watch in disbelief as this other player who sunk all their coins into their mid-level gold players that are going to lose value in a day, a couple days, a week even, while you outplay them with your as cheap as it gets players. They're just a few stats behind anyway. When you really break it down for these starter cards, it's just a few stats, but that's where the keen eye comes in. That's where the ability to get ahead off the pitch and making right decisions, that's where it comes in. It's a skill. Make sure if you need extra help and you can afford a couple bucks a month, check out my Discord. $2.99 a month, you can get all the help you could think of with stuff like we're going over now, with what players to look out for on SBCs, evolutions, selling players before they crash, the best tactics to use, updates in meta, whatever you can think of. It's all the help you can get from the community so we all push ourselves to reach our full potential. If it's something you're interested in, the link is in the YouTube bio. There's also, if you want to support the channel, YouTube memberships where you do get early content, like early, as a perk in return for your support. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.